Hello everyone, this is Phil Numba, and today we're going to talk about post E3 2014 stuff. I'm going to be talking about a handful of games from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo that seems to interest me and stuff. Just to throw off my thoughts about E3 and this year's E3 was pretty good. Microsoft had a better conference than they did. Sony was weaker this time. Unfortunately, Sony's lineup was a little bit weak because a lot of their trailers had, I think, and really most of the trailers have, well, a lot of trailers in E3 every year is just gameplay and stuff. Sony felt kind of a bit lacking from me, but they still had some pretty good games I'm definitely gonna get that I could consider getting. So Microsoft, so the Halo Master Chief Collection has been officially announced. That's been rumored for like a month or two or so. It's basically the first four Halo games in HD, even through half of them's already in HD, and Halo 2 and Halo 2 is been completely remaked into the Halo 4 engine on Xbox One, and even some of the maps are doing the same too, since they're also doing the multiplayer maps. But they said there's only they're only doing 6 multiplayer maps, which begs the question, are there like is it the entire is it like when it's all the multiplayer maps, does it mean all the Halo 2 multiplayer maps, or they're just picking certain Halo 2 maps to be remade in the Halo 4 engine? It's a little confusing, considering that don't get me wrong, the Halo 2 multiplayer stuff they showed off for a minute was amazing. It just it really does tempt me to get an Xbox One, even though I'm not getting an Xbox One. But I can always easily play Halo 2 by Xbox Connection LAN tunneling software on my 360. So since there's still people playing that game a lot on that matter. But hey, and it also comes with some kind of a movie that apparently takes place before Halo 5, and then there was that Halo 5 multiplayer beta trailer that they show off, since buying the Master Chief Collection will give you the Halo 5 multiplayer beta, which will come out sometime before the end of the year, and so that's pretty cool. It's a shame that Halo 4 didn't get a multiplayer beta, because I think I think that Halo 4's multiplayer was good, but there were some problems, especially the DMR and the DMR being OP as hell, being overly powered compared to the BR, the carbine, and all the other weapons. Considering that the main rifle I use in that game, it was the carbine, because I love using the carbine in Halo 3, and I enjoy using the carbine in that game. But and then they kind of like buff all the other weapons just so it can be as powerful as the DMR and whatnot. And I think really Halo 4 should have been beta tested before the game came out, and that's what they should have done. That's why the multiplayer was a bit unbalanced. But now they balance it a little better, since they kind of nerf and buff some of the weapons up properly and stuff. Especially that one Forerunner pistol that acts like a shotgun when you charge it up. Yeah, that thing, that a lot of people were using that thing a lot, and it's good that they buffed that weapon down, because that weapon was annoying as hell. But yeah, hey, it's pretty cool, and we got another year next year. Got another, everyone who's playing Halo 4 has another year before Halo 5 comes out. So Halo 5 is not coming out this year like people thought it would be. And since the only reason why they announced that last year, they announced, Master Chief's Return in 2014. Well, it's really Master Chief Collection. That's what they really meant. Yeah, that's Microsoft for you. So yeah, and let's see. What else was announced at Microsoft? We have Fable Legends, which was announced last year, but now this time there's gameplay footage, and basically, it's 4-player co-op, but there's also a 4v1 game mode where one player plays as the evil villain who place the monsters and traps in the map, and they have to transfer to the exit to defeat the evil villain. And and it's actually pretty cool. Even through there's already a game out there, but there's a first person shooter out there called Evolve that's doing the same thing, and I thought that was kind of weird, because the similarities. Well, not well. I mean, gameplay wise, they're different because we have an RPG dungeon crawling type game. And I'm saying dungeon crawling. I'm only saying dungeon crawling at this point because that's what it acts like. Because the new Fable game seems to be focusing more on multiplayer than just being a single player. That even through they mentioned that the game is supposed to take place is a prequel, like chronologically, it's supposed to take place before the first Fable game. I mean, but then again, I'm not really sure I'm not even sure there's a single player game or not. I remember hearing something last year about saying that the game takes place hundreds of years before the first game or something like that. So then there's other games like we have Project Spark for the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC, including including Microsoft trolling everybody with saying, "Hey, you can make you want a new Conquer game? You can make one yourself." And some people, a fair amount of people actually got upset about that, which was kind of hilarious considering there hasn't been a new Conquer game for a while. I mean, we haven't had a Conquer game since that one Conquer game came out, that sequel to the N64 game or whatever. I don't know. I never really cared much for Conquer. Conquer was just not my thing. But that's just me. But yeah, Project Spark looks pretty cool. I will definitely get it for PC, and something tells me that the PC version will actually come out on Steam and not just on their Microsoft like Windows 8 store. Because I have a feeling that might actually happen, and Project Spark will probably have workshop support. I can easily imagine that. I think that seems to be a big possibility for PC version for Project Spark. It could be a thing. I mean, you never know because Steam Workshop is very popular when it comes to their since there's a lot of games using it and stuff. And even I've uploaded some of my stuff on Steam Workshop, including a currently developed RPG Maker game that I'm doing. Since I'm also making an RPG game maker, but that will be saved for another time. I will talk about that later on once I get used to using RPG Maker. But so anyway, yes, and there's also other games, original games. The Scalebound, I swear to God, that Scalebound game, I thought that was a Devil May Cry game because that dude looked very suspiciously similar to Dante from the reboot Devil May Cry game, which a lot of people didn't really care about. But then all of a sudden there were dragons and stuff, and then he had like an armored dragoon suit of some kind. I'm saying dragoon suit because that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of like a dragoon armor from Final Fantasy games, except like realistic scales instead of just shiny armor or whatever. Realistic armor, like armor made of dragon scales or whatever. But and then there's Sunset Overdrive, which is basically Dead Rising on crack. That's my first impression of Sunset Overdrive. It's basically Dead Rising on crack. It's made from Insomnia, who made certain Sony IP games which names escape me because I'm not fully familiar with Insomnia. Oh wait, they made the Ratchet and Clank games. That's right. They're best known for making Ratchet and Clank games, and it's weird. It's kind of weird that they're making an exclusive title for Microsoft because they're normally they've been associated with Sony for a very long time since I believe the PlayStation 1 games. I'm not 100% sure if they made any PlayStation 1 games. I know they started off making a lot of PlayStation 2 games, especially they're known for making the 3 Ratchet and Clank games for the PS2. I remember that, and some of the newer games for the PS3 and stuff. So it looks like a fun little game. Nice, open world like sandbox type. Well, not sandbox, but it's an open world game. I don't know why I keep saying sandbox and open world together. That sounds silly to my part. And there's Killer Instinct DLC. It's Killer Instinct. It's another game I actually wouldn't mind playing, even through I'm not getting an Xbox One. So yeah, anyway, let's get to Sony stuff. Wait. Sony stuff. There we go. Okay. Had to get the list up. Okay, so Sony. All right, I'm going to talk about the one game that I am actually hyped up for, that I'm looking forward to. So as of lately, I started playing Dark Souls first on PC when I bought it on a sale before I got the game for free on Xbox 360. And this was a game that this was the game I heard that everybody's like, oh, you should try this game out, Phil. It's hard, it's fun, it's got that fun difficulty, and that's what I've been hearing about this game. And I've been kind of avoiding this game for a while until I finally decided to play it. And I have fallen in love in Dark Souls. There's something about the non-linearness of Dark Souls. It reminds me of the old NES days when you play Metroid or Legend of Zelda. You start the game doesn't hold your hand. You have to guess where you have to go, and kind of guess what certain stuff does and whatnot. And it was that same. It had that same feeling when like those old school NES games that I used to play back in my childhood. And that's what I like about Dark Souls. Even the bosses are like. They require a lot of pattern memorization and some luck, because some of the bosses, including the gargoyles, kind of requiring good timing. Especially the fucking gargoyle boss, who was a pain in the ass. And I fought him twice on both PC and Xbox 360. Yeah. I never thought I would actually beat them both on both versions, but hey, that's the way it goes. So anyway, so now there's a new Souls game. It's not really a Souls game. It's a spiritual successor to Demon Souls and Dark Souls called Bloodborne. And Bloodborne is basically Dark Souls, but it's basically a Souls type game that takes place in a Victorian time, and there's firearms and I don't know. It looks awesome. Let's just put it that way. Now, even through this game has firearms it still has melee weapons and stuff and whatnot. It's not a shooter game, which is actually good, because we don't want to turn an RPG. Because it would make sense not to turn it into a shooter game. And stuff. I'm kind of expecting firearms will have I'm expecting firearms to two things. Either they'll have limited ammo like you do with crossbows and bow and arrows, or it'll have extremely slow reload where you have to wait a couple of seconds for your shotgun or a musket. I'm assuming there's going to be like rifles and muskets in the game too. Like we're talking like old ass type of guns, and doorbell shotguns and whatnot. At least that's my impression of how firearms will work in the game. And supposedly they're going to be, and from the looks, and I'm saying this based from the unreleased leak trailer that just came out like days after the Bloodborne announcement. I'm not talking about the CGI trailer that didn't really show any gameplay. I'm talking about the leak trailer that I favorited somewhere on my channel. I favored the video. Just check it out my favorites and you know what I'm talking about. Just look up Bloodborne leak gameplay and you'll see it. Because there was a leak gameplay thing that was supposed to be for the developers conference from last year, and they never released it because I guess they thought they weren't ready to show it off. And it showed a lot of gameplay stuff and some of the enemy types. There was mobs of enemies with torches. There's a giant like gray fur werewolf. There's a giant tentacle creature, which I'm assuming is a boss. There's big, huge, large, hunchback creatures with big melee weapons and stuff. A lot, and dark environment, a lot of things you expect from a Souls game, and stuff. And judging from the trailer, judging from the gameplay trailer, there are no shields. Like at E3 when they showed barely a minute of game, when they showed 50 seconds of gameplay, there wasn't an enemy that had a wooden shield, which may imply that there's going to be shields in the game, but shields will be less important because I think they're going to try to make it to where you have to be more offensive, but you still have to be careful and stuff. So I think there's going to be shields in the game, just not that many. But that's kind of my guess with Bloodborne. So that's a game I'm totally gonna buy, and for the PS4 since I am buying a PS4 since it's a PS4 exclusive, and I'll totally live stream that game a lot. I will die a lot. Hopefully, I'll beat Dark Souls 1 and 2 before that game comes out. I have less than a year left, so I should have plenty of time and stuff. And what else? And that's there's Uncharted 4, but unfortunately, Uncharted 4 is just a trailer. And apparently, according to the trailer, this will be Nathan Drake's last game, which is really sad. I mean, the only Uncharted game I played is the one for the PS Vita, which is an awesome game. And really, the PS Vita game was the main reason why I'm now into Uncharted games. So, I mean, hopefully, once the PlayStation Now service comes to the PS Vita, I'll be able to have access to the first 3 Uncharted games because I just want to play their campaign. I don't really care about the multiplayer that much. I mean, I wouldn't mind giving the multiplayer a try because the multiplayer reminds me of Gears of War, except it's like more dynamic. Like you can grab on the legends and kind of like jump around and stuff, which is, especially with the cover system, and stuff. But I wouldn't mind trying that out, So I definitely will buy Uncharted 4 because Sony mentioned that Uncharted, you don't really need to play the first 3 games in order to play Uncharted 4 because it's its own standalone story that chronologically takes place as after the 3rd game, but has like no story connections or whatever, something like that. Hence, standalone story. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and then there's the Order 1886, and this is another game I could consider getting, but after seeing the gameplay footage, I have mixed feelings for the gameplay footage because I have some hopes for this particular game because this is a game that Sony's been trying to. This is a game that's being developed by the people who made the portable God of War games for the PSP. Chain of Olympus, which I happen to own, which is an awesome God of War game. I would totally recommend buying that game because if you can still find a copy or just download it to your PS Vita since digital copies exist for that game. And I like the idea of being like some kind of like paranormal hunter and something like that because I believe that's what it's supposed to be about. You're like in Victorian age going against werewolves and whatever. Funny, we're talking about Victorian age since we already have a game about that called Bloodborne. It seems Victorian age theme games are, or maybe it's just a coincidence that just both games have similar themes, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, but the problem with the gameplay is it looks more like CGI than just gameplay. So it kind of worries me that, every 5 minutes there's going to be a cutscene, and I don't like games with that. Hopefully it's just a part of the game that's just had cutscenes, and then there's gonna be a lot that has like a lot of going through stuff in 3rd person and shooting werewolves and whatever or whatever this game's supposed to be about. I'll be honest, I really don't know much about the Order 1886, so excuse me with my lack of knowledge of this game. I'm hearing lots of people say, "Oh, this game might be good," even though the game's been delayed till next year. So there's not going to be any good like PlayStation 4 titles coming out for this holiday. From the looks of it, I mean, Destiny is probably going to be the only game I'll be getting for both PS4 and Xbox 360. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about also is Destiny. So Bungie surprised everybody by releasing the Destiny alpha during E3. For the PS4 exclusive, I've seen a lot of Twitch streams of people playing this game, and this is what I think about it. It looks awesome. The co-op looks cool. The PvP actually looks pretty good because, from my understanding, the way PvP works is all the weapons you actually loot and earn and upgrade and stuff transfer to PvP. So you have to like kind of level up a bit before you go to PvP. So there might be some balancing issues. There could be some balancing issues because chances are this game is most likely not going to be an MLG. This is not going to be an MLG game from the looks of it. But I think at the same time it'll still be kind of fun. I'm mostly going to play player versus environment. I'm going to play through the campaign and I'm going to play some co-op with random people and stuff and and explore. It's an open world game like like the Borderlands games. That's why That's actually the main reason why I haven't bothered playing Borderlands games, because since I heard about Destiny's, and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm really looking forward to. I mean, Destiny is like the next big game I'm really looking forward to. So, it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be cool. So, last but not least, we're gonna talk about Nintendo. And holy shit, Nintendo kind of stole most of the show, for the most part. I mean, we got Bayonetta 2, we got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is basically Super Mario 3D World, but you played as Toad, which is kind of cool. There's a new Kirby game coming out. There's Mario Kart 8, which just released like weeks before E3, and Wii U's are soaring through the roof because of that game. You got a Mario Maker game coming out, which you can design your own Mario stages, which is also awesome. There's the new Pokemon games for the 3DS that's coming out that a lot of Pokemon fans are super excited about. Unfortunately, Ruby and Sapphire were the Pokemon games that I stopped making me playing Pokemon. Gold and Silver will always be the best Pokemon games, in my personal opinion. That's just personally me. And there's the new Smash Brothers game coming out. Unfortunately, the 3DS version was delayed till October, which sucks. Oh, and Pac-Man is going to be in Smash Brothers. That is even more awesome than ever. There's even a new Yoshi game coming out for the Wii U. And there's a new Legend of Zelda game with a character that doesn't really look like Link, which is kind of weird. But so we'll see what character that is. And of course, they show a bit more of the Hyrule Warriors game that's coming out, which is basically a Dynasty Warriors Legend of Zelda crossover type game. And when I mean, well, put it simply, Legend of Zelda pretending to be Dynasty Warriors. And that's probably a game I will actually consider playing because I like Dynasty Warriors. I have a friend that me and a friend of mine back in high school, we used to play Dynasty Warriors co-op together, which was a lot of fun. So good times. And I mean, yeah, Nintendo. There was a lot of good announcements for Nintendo. There's even a Xenoblade game coming out for the Wii U, and because Xenoblade is like one of those really like popular RPG games. I never played a Xenoblade game before, and people in the comments are gonna facepalm going, "This guy's never played Xenoblade before. He needs to get slapped for talking about it, for not knowing what Xenoblade is." Well, I'm sorry if I've played to other RPG games that people know stuff. I don't know. Also, there's Lufia 3 for the Game Boy Color coming out to the 3DS Virtual Console, which is super, super awesome. Yeah. This is something I just recently heard about. Just recently, like a couple of days ago. Like right at the time to upload this video. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Sadly, although, I'm still upset that Nintendo's not releasing Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS, because that's something that really needs to be done and stuff and whatnot. So yeah. So anyway, I think that's all as I can say about this. Leave give me a thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever, and comment me and whatever, Share me your opinions of what do you like about E3 and all this goofiness and stuff, and stuff, E3 stuff. Yeah, that's all the E3 stuff you will hear from me. So tune in, and I will see y'all later.